We have quite the battle ahead of us with...
What's up, Powerlifting Nation? Today we are going to be talking about maybe the greatest 93 kilogram battle which is going to happen this Saturday at the Powerlifting America Nationals. This might even be the greatest battle we have ever seen in powerlifting. Why? Well, at the start of this year, the world record in the 93s was 901 kg. However, at this competition, I think that there are 6 people that could go over 900 kg, which is insane. And all 6 of these people have very close top end ranges, which means that anyone could win the competition. So let's get into it. First of all, I'm going to be talking about the 3 favourites to win it, and I'm going to say who I think will win the competition. And then I'm going to talk about some other guys that could surprise us, and they could win the whole thing. And then I'm going to conclude by talking about Jack Reynolds, who is 17 years old and might become the greatest sub-junior powerlifter or under 18 powerlifter we have ever seen. He is also competing and he is going to go crazy. But let's get into it. So there are 3 people that I would say are the favourites for the competition. Why? Well, they are battle tested. They've been in big battles and they've won big competitions. They also have the biggest totals. Their training totals have translated onto the platform and they have done some insane totals. Gavin Adin has totaled 901 kg. Brandon Petri has totaled 895 kg. And Jonathan Cayco has totaled 893 kg. However, I think all of these guys have the potential to total a lot more at this competition. Let's first talk about Brandon Petri. Brandon Petri's squat. He recently did a 320 kg squat, and I think that this shows us that he could probably squat about 315 at competition, maybe a little bit more. I don't think he will risk it doing a 320 kg squat, just because, as you can see, it was very difficult. If we move on to his bench press, he hasn't really shown his bench. So I'm assuming that his bench is probably quite stagnant. He tends to bench around 210 at competition. There is a chance that his bench has been increasing and he's kept it a secret, but for some reason I kind of doubt that. So I'm thinking he'll bench around 210. And then his deadlift, he recently did a 372.5 kg deadlift and it looks easy. I think that he could deadlift around 380 kg. So overall, I'm assuming that on a good day, he can total between about 900 kilograms and 907.5 kilograms, I would say, on a good day. Moving on to Gavin Adin, we haven't seen much of his top end squat recently, but I think he can probably squat around 340 kg, which he has been doing in the last few competitions. His bench press is looking very strong. He recently did a 212.5 kg bench press, and I think that he could probably bench press around 220 kg, maybe a little bit more. And then his deadlift is around 350 kg, I think. And so this would give him a top end range of, I would say, between 907.5 kg to 915 kg. And then Jonathan Cayco, I would say he will probably squat around 310 kg. We have seen him squat more in training, but I think he's probably not going to risk it, and he'll probably squat 310. I think his bench press, he could probably bench press around 250 kg, which would be an unofficial world record and an American record. And then his deadlift, I think he can deadlift about the same as Gavin Adin, which is 350 kg. And I would give him the exact same range as Gavin Adin. I think his range is between 907.5 kg and 915 kg. So out of these two, who do I think is going to win out of Gavin and Cayco? I think that Jonathan Cayco will probably win, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons for this. So the first reason is because I think that Gavin Adin's squat is a little bit iffy. We don't know whether he will hit his third squat. Why? Because he always has had a problem with depth. And I think that there is a good chance, maybe like a 30% chance, that he is not given his third squat due to depth. And if he doesn't get his third squat, I would say there's probably no chance of him winning the competition, because this could knock 20 kg off his total, and in this competition 20 kg could be the difference between first and maybe even 8th place. So that's the first reason. I think the second reason is a little bit more complicated. Put very simply, Jonathan Cayco has an advantage because he will be able to break a record at this competition, and so he will get a chip. This basically means that when you hit a record, you are allowed to pick attempts in 0.5 kg increments. For example, you can squat 340.5 kg if you're going over an American record at this competition. However, normally in powerlifting, you're only allowed to go up in 2.5 kg increments, so like 5, 7.5, 10, etc. And so, put simply, I'm pretty sure that Jonathan Cayco will be able to break an American bench record, and he will be allowed to go up and use a chip. Gavin Adin, I don't think he will be able to break the squat record. Why? Because Jamal Royster is at the competition. His best squat is 357.5 kg, and so he will break the squat record, which is currently Gavin Adin's squat record of 341 kg. And if Jamal is able to break this record, then Gavin Adin won't be able to get a chip on his squat. And ultimately, a chip is really useful when it comes to winning competitions. And Cayco will have that advantage over Gavin Adin. And finally, it is because Jonathan Cayco is Mr. Perfect. That's his nickname. And he was given this nickname because he rarely misses attempts. Jonathan Cayco has the experience winning these really big competitions under pressure. He is a 2-time world champion. And he is just someone who is consistent. And in a competition where every single lift counts, you have to go 9 for 9 at this competition. And I have a lot more faith that Jonathan Cayco can go 9 for 9 in comparison to Gavin Adin. And so ultimately, I think that for those 3 reasons, I think that I would probably put my money on Jonathan Cayco if I had to. But it will be very close. And then Brandon Petri. I think Brandon Petri's top end strength is about 5 kg less than Gavin and Jonathan's top end. And I think that this will make a difference in this competition, because I think that either one of Gavin Adin and Jonathan Cayco will have a really good day. And so I don't think that Brandon Petri will be able to beat them. One advantage that Brandon Petri does have is that he deadlifts the most. And this is a massive advantage because it means that if Gavin Adin or Jonathan Cayco misses their last attempt on deadlift, then Brandon Petri can load up exactly what he needs to win the competition. So definitely, if either one of those two slips up, Brandon Petri will instantly capitalize, in my opinion. But if I had to predict exactly what I think is going to happen, I think Jonathan Cayco is going to go 9 for 9 at the competition. He is going to put up a very solid performance. Then I think that Gavin Adin will deadlift after Jonathan Cayco. He will load up what he needs to win, and I think that he will miss the deadlift and overreach. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen to Brandon Petri. He will load up what he needs to win, and I think he will miss as well. That is my prediction. Because in this competition, there's no point trying to pull to come second. But definitely, these final pulls are going to be insane. You have to be watching the live stream. But yeah, I think that there is a strong chance that one of these 3 powerlifters will win the competition. It's just about going 9 for 9. And I think Jonathan Cayco is the most likely to go 9 for 9. So I think he will win. But now let's talk about the people that could surprise us and win the whole competition. We have Dominique Fuqua, who very recently, I think this week, totaled 890 kg in training. And all he needs is to taper really well. And we could see him easily going over 900 kg, maybe even more, if he has a good taper. So I would say Dominique is the wild card. If he is able to peak perfectly, he has a strong chance of winning. However, we haven't seen him execute and perform on the platform like we have seen Gavin, Brandon and Jonathan. And so I can't put Dominique up there with those three. But he could easily surprise us and win the whole competition. We also have Demetrius Smith, who has the insane deadlift. He recently did a 295 kg squat, which looked easy. I think he could probably squat 310 kg. He could probably bench about 205 kg. And his deadlift could be about 380 kg, maybe even more. And this could give him a total of 895 kg. And once again, if one of those lifts is looking very strong, or people start missing lifts, he could easily win the competition. And especially because he has the biggest top end deadlift. And so he can pull last and load up exactly what he needs to win the competition. If I had to predict what will happen, I'm guessing that Demetrius Smith will load up exactly what he needs on his final deadlift to win the competition. And I'm guessing that it will probably be around 390 kg. And I'm guessing that he will probably miss the lift. That's my prediction. But if he gets the lift, it would be insane. Bear in mind, only the winner of this competition will be picked by Powerlifting America to go to the World Championships. So this competition is even more exciting because it's just all or nothing. There's no point coming second, there's no point coming third. It's all about coming first. And so we are going to see a lot of people try and deadlift to win the competition. So Dominique Fuqua and Demetrius Smith look like the two people that could surprise us the most and win the competition if they have a good day. And then we have some other people that I would probably put in a third string, and there is like a small chance they could win. But it's going to be interesting what they put up. So in this section, we have Jamar Royster, who looks like he can probably total about 880 kg on a really good day. But it's going to be interesting to see how much he squats. He might even squat more than 360 kg, which would be insane. This would break the world record by 20 kg. And like I said before, his squats could be the difference between Gavin Adin winning and losing. So he is going to be an interesting person to watch at the competition, but probably won't win. And then we have Jordan McKinley. That could put up a really impressive total. He's a junior as well. He's only 22 years old. However, I think that he could total around 900 kg. He looks like he can squat 325, bench 220 kg, and deadlift 360 kg. The only issue is that he is competing in the B group, which means that he is competing before everyone else. Which means that everyone else can basically see his total and pace themselves to beat his total, because they know that they need to hit this certain number to win the competition. So this gives him a massive disadvantage. And I would say that the only way that he can really win is if he puts up an insane total. Probably around 915 kg. But I can't really see that happening. But we'll have to see. So if I had to make my predictions, I think Jonathan Cayco will come in first place. After that, I'm going to put them in order of likelihood to win. So I would put Gavin Adin next most likely, then Brandon Petri, then Dominique Fuqua, then Brandon Jones, and then finally Jamar Royster. And I think that all of these guys will total 870 kg, which is insane because a few years ago, 870 kg would have been good enough to podium in pretty much every World Championships. And now let's finally talk about Jack Reynolds. Jack Reynolds is 17 and he recently, in his gym, put up a total of 875.5 kilograms, and it looked easy. It looked RPE 9. I think that if he had gone all out, he could have maybe totaled 890 kg, which is just unheard of. He is a sub-junior lifter, and the world record in the 93s is 801 kg in the sub-juniors. So this would be a world record by 75 kg. So yeah, on a perfect day, I think that Jack Reynolds has a tiny chance of actually winning the competition. And if he won, it would be insane. Maybe one of the most impressive performances we have seen in powerlifting if we take into account his age. However, if I had to be completely honest, I don't see Jack Reynolds totaling more than 875 kg. Just because I think that Jack does struggle to translate his gym lifts into competition. But I would love to be proved wrong. And even if he totaled 830 kg, this would be insane. It would still be an unofficial record by 30 kg. But yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see what Jack Reynolds puts up at this competition. If he does manage to do a total of 850 kg or even more, this is so scary for the powerlifting world. Because Jack Reynolds, he only weighs 90 kg, so he's got 3 more kg to grow, but he's only 17. If he manages to total 850 plus at this competition now, what is he going to do in the next few years? So yeah, ultimately this competition is going to be insane. You have to be watching this if you're a powerlifting fan. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers. Like I said, a clothing brand is going to drop soon. A documentary about Rondell Hunt will also drop. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.